essentially, I just wanted to talk about what actually happened in a little bit more detail and why I changed barns, because people are like, oh, I'm confused, like whatever. Well, part of it was like a little bit monetary. It is a little bit cheaper to be at this new barn. It'll honestly like equal out and probably be like the same.
Well, the moment you felt you could start over new was the same that you realized the stories were true. You opened your eyes and the world you could see wasn't dim, it was brighter. You'd have to agree. Oh, now your fears are gone. They were buried with the dawn. And oh, now you feel alive for the very first time. Oh, now your fears are gone. They were buried with the dawn. And oh, now you feel alive for the first time. Not hold me yet. Not hold me yet. No, you're not home yet. No, not home. But you finally found the way.
So right now I pay like $300 a month for my horse to be boarded. He technically has stall board. He has indoor-outdoor board, so he has both. However, if you use the stall part of the board, you get charged each day that they are in the stall. And if you're not there for the vet or the farrier, then you get charged a fee for holding. And if they do basically anything besides giving them their one feed a day and they just like open the gate and let the horses in and then let them back out once a day in the summertime, you get charged. Which there's a point to which I totally understand, like if you're putting in a lot more effort, if it's taking out of your time, if you can't work because of it or whatever, you have to be fairly compensated. I totally get it. But there's also a point to which I personally feel it's really like, not that it's unfair to charge, but I feel like the amount of the charges and like the frequency, half of that stuff is expected horse care. Like, oh, you're making it so that I have to have my horse in this specific area, and because something, like you broke something or something of yours isn't fixed, I have to pay more because of something that you need to fix. Which, personally, like to me is totally, that's just not fair. It's not fair that like, oh yeah, this happened, well my horse needs water, I'm sorry, but shouldn't that be included in my board? Like, then get it fixed. Like, that's your motivation. If you don't want to have to take the time out of your day to go and like water my horse, get your hose fixed, you know? So it just doesn't, like, that part doesn't make sense to me personally. And then, like, again, I understand, like, if you've got to go out of your way to be there for something like holding the horses or whatever, I totally understand. And I'm making you go out of your way just like it would be hard for me to go out of my way to do it. But the thing is, the owner of the barn has to be there anyway. They have to have an employee there anyway. And, like, I don't feel that it's fair. If you have to be there anyway, it's not any harder for you to just hold my horse. Like, it costs more in gas money for me to get out here and back than it does for me to pay the fee. Yeah, but why should I have to pay a fee for something that you're already there for? It's not any harder for you. It's just, instead of standing there without a horse rope in your hands, you have to have a horse rope in your hands. Like, it just doesn't make logical sense, and it's just not, I don't think, any way to treat your boarders. And that's a personal thing, but it's not like the end of the world. So that's not just why I'm moving. It's part of it. It's really frustrating. Like, everything is like a nickel and a dime. It's never just like, yep, that's included in expected horse care. Like, yeah, they like include our grain, but like, my horse doesn't get regular grain. He just gets the special feed. So either I should get a discount and then pay you for the other thing, like the special feed that you have to buy, or I just don't pay. So I don't feel like I'm like getting anything special or extra just because instead of giving me a discount and then me paying for my own feed, you're just providing the feed. You know, that doesn't feel like special to me. So like, I don't think that that's like a big deal. I mean, if I had a horse boarding with me that wasn't getting grained, I would definitely be taking off part of their board every month. But and you have to do what you have to do, and I totally get that. But like, for me, it only makes sense, like, okay, well, this is included, but you're not getting that, and it's an obvious expense. Whereas like, oh yeah, pasture time is included and I take them out in the morning and bring them back in at night, but if you want me to just leave them out there, it's less work for me. I'm not gonna not charge for that, because it's just an included service that really the only difference would be like maybe $1. So you'd get a discount of like $2. Like, that's not, it doesn't make sense. So if I'm not getting that service, like, that wouldn't be something that I'm worried about. But like feeding, like, you're not actually giving me any product, you know? If it's just, oh, you stopped a feeding that I was paying for, like, obviously I wouldn't expect a discount, and I don't expect a discount. I just don't know, like, why one wouldn't offer it. But again, still not really a big deal, like, in the long term. Some of the things that bother me a little bit more are things like things that I was allowed to previously store there, that I didn't think that I needed to find storage for, because I was told that I would be able to store things there. I'm no longer allowed to store there. And I get that, like, things change and space design stuff changes, but none of their space has actually changed. It's just they don't want it there. But I just personally feel like if you give me this space and it's in my contract that I can store those things there, I should be able to store my things there. So that's like a little bit of a bigger issue, but again, not the end of the world. So I'm like, whatever, okay, fine. Then I just don't like that you don't, like, beyond the feeds, you don't really get a say in the products that are used on your horse. It's more like, we're going to use this, or this is your only other alternative. So for example, if I choose not to use this specific dewormer that they're using, if I wanted to buy my own, I would not be allowed to have my horse out in the pasture with the other horses. Which, there's part of me that's like, 6 horses in one pasture is a little bit excessive. It's not a huge pasture. It's really not meant for 6 horses. So I wouldn't be opposed to being like, yeah, okay, he can be in a separate pasture. That's fine. And I could save myself like $60. But I don't know enough about it to, like, I don't have the time to go and do the research to find one that's going to work. But you're also not supposed to change, like, certain products on horses throughout their lives, because it can hurt them. So it's like, it's just a weird, like, why can't I do that? Like, it's doing the same thing. I provide it, you just have to pick it, like, use that one instead. Like, I pick it up, I drop it off. It's weird like that, and that is a bigger issue to me overall. Like, I need to give my horse what I need to give my horse. And it's not something that's going to endanger the other horses. I don't know why you think it does, but, like, vets have said it's not. And I run everything by my vet, especially when it comes to, like, health change for my horse, simply because I want to make sure that I'm getting experienced, professional information. And then every time my horse gets an injury, which part of the issue with this, I'll explain in a moment, but every time my horse gets an injury, it's so many hundreds of extra dollars just because I can't go out there every day. And they know that, like, I have a kid, I don't have a sitter, and I don't have another car, and my husband works out of home, and just because I work in the home doesn't mean that I don't have to work every single day. I can make my hours flexible, but I don't know when else I'm going to do the work, you know? When I come home at night, I still have my kid to take care of, I have my household to run still, and the stuff that I need to do at night, I still need to do at night. So it's not like it goes away because I added this extra thing. And that's a me issue, and I totally understand that. But the amount that I'm being charged every time just seems a little ridiculous. And half the time I wonder if it ever gets done, because when I ask for things like updates or like informing me of X, Y, or Z, I just don't get those things. But still, that's not the end of the, like, line for me. It's not the last straw. The last straw for me is that right now, right here, when I have this issue with my horse, and it's not an issue with my horse, it's an issue that I knew we were getting another boarder July 1st. We're still getting another boarder July 1st. So we're gonna have 6 horses in one pasture, and in plus a pony, and it's dramatic. But anyway, that's a whole other thing. But like, we're still getting another boarder. But then all of a sudden, we got this random new horse that we were never told about. It was just announced on our Facebook page that, oh, welcome to the farm, this new horse. Like, okay, I mean, like, you have a right to take boarders whenever. But you also have an obligation to inform your boarders that a new horse is going to be coming in. And then you have another obligation to properly introduce that horse to the herd that's already established. I don't feel that was done. But regardless of whether or not it was done properly, you can't go back and change it now. So it's not like it's the end of the world. It might be, but right now I'm not seeing it be the end of the world. So that's not even like the ultimate straw for me. The ultimate straw for me is as soon as I notice like, hey, this is a problem and he needs this treatment and I can't give him this treatment because of this horse, I went to the barn. I went to the vet. I went to the owner of the barn. I went to the vet and I was just like, hey, I talked to the vet. I was like, hey, this is what's going on. Sorry, I couldn't get you a picture. I just need to pick up this new product. And I went to the barn owner and I said, this is what's going on. This is what I'd like to do because I think this is going to provide the best results and be the safest. But I would never dream of taking another horse out of the pasture or doing something with it without approval from the owner because I wouldn't want that to be done to my horse. And like, I need to know if this is okay or if I'd have permission to talk to the owner about it, or like if you have a better idea for me to attempt. However, the only like real solution that I was offered was do everything in his stall. And so I followed up with, well, okay, if I still can't get him to cooperate, I'm not going to be doing it in his stall, but if I still can't get him to cooperate, can I bring the other horse in? Because, you know, that's the only thing that I can think of for the solution and you don't have any other ideas. And I was told no for liability reasons, which I totally get that, like, you know, you don't want to have liability issues. I get that. But my horse isn't going to get the treatment that he needs if this doesn't work. And that other horse is the issue. And the only way that it seems to fix the problem is to get rid of the other horse. And while no, that's not entirely fair to the other boarder, it's not my fault that the introduction was done incorrectly and that there are now issues in the herd. And because I've been there longer and because my horse needs this treatment, like if he doesn't get this treatment, there could be potentially deadly consequences. That's not necessarily the case. Would probably be down the line and easily can be prevented. But if the treatments aren't given to him properly in the way that they need to be, it could be, you know, you never know where it could go. And I don't want to take that risk. And I am sacrificing my time, my day, my work, everything to come out and do this and be here for my horse. That if this solution can't be come to and the owner won't agree to just let this horse like in when I am trying to take care of his foot, I feel that it's only right that boarder has to leave, even if it's for a short time. That's where I draw the line. I can't in good conscience leave my horse here anymore. So I've contacted 2 other barns that I'm looking into. We went to a barn today. I'll insert some pictures over in this realm. It was really nice. I was actually really surprised by how much I liked it. I wasn't quite sure if I was going to be sold on it or not. I just didn't really know what to expect. And I ended up really enjoying it. Very positive. I liked it. So I have one other barn that I might go see next week. I'm not really sure. I have to talk to a friend of mine and Gregory kind of about his thoughts too. But either way, yeah, I was pleasantly surprised, and I'm kind of looking forward to seeing how things go in the future. So, yeah. So ultimately, I am leaving August 1st from my barn to a new barn. I've had more issues. There are 3 horses that are new. I only knew about one of them coming. No precautions were taken to make sure those horses were quarantined or integrated properly, and it doesn't take it just takes a quick Google search to figure out the best way to introduce a horse to a established group of horses, and so that just didn't happen, and it just makes me concerned for my horse's future, especially if he has to get his injury surgically removed, which I will update you on as I find out. But if that happens, I just know that it won't be cared for, and there will be no precautions taken. Just based on the behaviors in the past, and even though I've tried to communicate and I've tried to fix the problem myself, I've tried to ask for help fixing the problem, I'm just not getting any of that. And because of those reasons, we are leaving. As I said, we are moving August 1st. And so I'm hoping that, everything just goes smoothly from there. But yeah, that's the explanation of why I'm leaving my barn. If you've been following my videos and you've heard about his injury, my horse's injury, and you saw the video primarily focusing on his injury, yeah, there's lots of info in there. But if you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit the bell down below so you can get notifications for when more videos come out. And don't forget to comment and let me know your thoughts on this. If you have any advice for this situation like this, if you've had any experience with this. And don't forget to let me know what you guys are thinking on having a public Snapchat story, or if you would rather just stick with the public Instagram story. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time. Love, Genevieve.